How's it going? This is Brandon from Brandlix Media, and in today's video, it's going to be an exciting one because I recently just onboarded a client as of last week. They're doing like $200,000 per month. In the last 7 days, they're almost doing $70,000 per month, so around $10,000 in sales every single day. And so this made me think, and I was like, I've worked with around 60, 70 brands over the last years. And I've had the opportunity to know exactly why a product works, why a product fails, why product that work only last for 2 months, and why some products that work last for 3 years, right, or more. And so I've just have a criteria in my mind, just working with these businesses, and I just want to give it to you. And I want you to understand the framework of why some products work, fail, succeed for a long-term periods, or they just die out fast. And I want to bring you through my same exact thought process. So with no further ado, let's get right into the whiteboard. As usual, before we get into the actual video, here is the proof. Let me just refresh. This is the last 7 days. As you can see, they're doing around $10,000 a day. And if we just look at the last 30 days, as I told you before, they are doing they're scaling, so they were doing less, $200,000. Now, we just onboarded them recently, but I'm showing you this because I know that there's a lot of fluff out there. We actually manage and help grow these types of businesses, 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses, and this is the proof. Now, what's important to understand is that, as I was telling you before, I've worked with 60 businesses, therefore pretty much 60 successful products. And so what I want to do in the whiteboard is show you and tell you exactly why these products work. Let's hop on the whiteboard and talk about that. Great, so let's actually talk about the 5 key things and factors, let's call them characteristics, that I look for when it comes to finding long-term winning products. Once again, I'm not talking about the trendy products like the fidget spinner that goes on for a couple of months and then it dies out. I'm actually talking about building a sustainable business. So what I have over here is, I covered 3 just to make sure you stick around, because these, if I show you all 5, I already know you're gonna say, I already know this, but I want you to understand my thought process, right? So let's start with number 1. I showed you number 1 and number 5. Let's start with number 1, ethically addictive products. This is a very weird word in terminology, but ethically addictive essentially means, I'll give you some examples, right? First of all, it has to be ethical, right? Because we can't sell illegal drugs, right? We can't sell illegal stuff, and it has to be addictive. What is an example? Ethically addictive products are like skincare, right? Something that improves your, the way you look and feel. Coffee is also an ethically addictive product, right? It's addictive because caffeine can be addictive, right? And it's ethical, of course, because it's coffee. This is what I mean. If you can find something along those lines, you are going to be 3 steps ahead, because the product is going to do the selling itself because it is addictive. And if you can find addictive products, once again, you're 3 steps ahead. Now, let's talk about solving important problems, right? If you can find a product that is ethically addictive and actually solves a really important problem, right? You're 3 steps ahead. Maybe you're 4 steps ahead, right? Because it's actually a lot easier to promote a product that solves a problem instead of just, selling a t-shirt, right? Or selling apparel, like selling designs or selling, don't get me wrong, I've worked with apparel businesses, they're great. And if I actually think about it, to correct myself, even clothing businesses solve a problem, right? It's status, increase in status, right? Even like a watch, right? This solves a problem. It's an increase in status. So in one way or the other, if you can find a product that solves a really important problem, and typically if you stick around like the health industry, the beauty industry, cosmetics, like these things, like you can find plenty of products that solve a really important problem. I've also noticed that if you gear your sale towards women, and I have nothing against women or men, I'm like very neutral, 50-50, but I just noticed if we look at the stats, women tend to purchase and buy a lot more when it comes to like improving their either self-esteem, beauty, looks, whether it's shapewear. Shapewear is a huge one. This is point number 5, solving an important problem. Let's move forward and let's talk about, let's just do number 2, consumable. This is a huge huge one. Why is it huge? Because if you can find an ethically addictive product that solves a problem that is also a consumable, you are into something. Because guess what? If you find a consumable product that people, let's say, buy 5 to 6, 7 times a year, so every 1 or 2 months they need to buy again because it's a consumable, right? Coffee, skincare, right? There's also some shapewear that can be also consumable, right? But if you can find something consumable, it's great for a couple of reasons. Number one, lifetime value, right? If you can increase your lifetime value, you essentially, you're going in the right direction, because a lot of businesses, they actually don't have a hard time scaling to 7 figures. They have a hard time retaining or scaling to 8 figures because they don't have like consumable products. They don't have products that increase the lifetime value of a customer. So if you can find a consumable product, you are in the right direction. Okay. The second reason why a consumable product really helps is because when you advertise, right? As we move on in this digital advertising age in 2024, 2025, and the years coming, advertising costs are just only going to increase, right? So if you can maybe break even or even lose some money on the front end, which means that you're willing to spend more compared to your competitors to acquire each customer, because you know that it's a consumable product and people will buy 3 or 4 more times throughout the year, right? Then this is why it works and why I advise, finding a consumable product. Let's move on to number 3, a wow factor. So typically these products really work well for social media. Mainly because it's a wow factor means that you're surprised about what you're seeing. It's something that you've never seen. So they're not really scalable with Google. Google is maybe great to recapture the demand that you create with social, but these wow factor products are maybe products that you've never seen in a store, right? You've only seen on TikTok, online. And so these really work well for social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, whatever, Meta, and TikTok, especially TikTok. So once again, if you can find an ethically addictive product that solves a problem, that is consumable, that has a wow factor, you're 10 steps ahead, right? So, and once again, these characteristics allow your winning product to have longevity, like actual sustainable growth over time. It's not like a product that goes well for a month and then dies out for another one. This is consistent growth month over month, right? Especially if it's a consumable. Now let's talk about the last thing over here. And this video is quick, by the way, because these are just the 5 main things. I could probably pull up a list of 20 other things, but these are the 5 main things that I would look at. The next thing over here is 60 to 70% margin, right? Especially if it's a consumable. So if I buy for a second time, I get to keep 60 to 70% of the margin, right? Which is even more profitable. Let me jump over here. So 60 to 70%, why is that important? I don't really need to explain the importance, but for some reason, people just maybe look at other things and they feel like a 30 or 40 or 50% margin is enough. It's actually not. When you grow, you need to pay for employees, you need to pay for your ad spend, you need to pay yourself, right? If you want to pay yourself, you need to pay for shit, right? So 60 to 70% plus is, I would say, the minimum is 60% in e-commerce if you want to scale and grow profitably. Once again, if you have a very high LTV consumable product, maybe even 50%, or guess what, 40% works for you. I'm not sure, but if you can find these 5 things together and 60 to 70%, I had a client that was selling a consumable product in the shapewear industry, and they had like an 85% margin. Just imagine how much money they were making. And all of these, all of these characteristics is exactly what that successful product had. And they're scaling month over month. So once again, this was a short video, but I wanted to bring you through these 5 things because once again, ethically addictive, solves a problem, is consumable, has a wow factor, it's never been seen before, or it's a completely new concept, right? Has 60 to 70%. You pretty much have a winning product that is not only a winning product, but it also creates a successful business for the longevity and years to come. Okay. Also, when you are selling a business, this is also a criteria that investors, private equity firms look into, right? That it's all these 5 characteristics to buy, because they don't want fluctuating businesses. They want steady growth year over year. So that's it for me in this video. I know that it was short. I wanted to do something straight to the point. Let me know if you actually enjoy these whiteboard videos. I think they're pretty fun, old school. Sam Oven style. But yeah, give me some comments on what you'd like to see from me, right? I receive a bunch of comments here and there, but I'm not really sure. If you can help me on the topics, I can maybe cover some more topics over others, and I can make you happy. All right, with no further ado, see you in the next video.